bounce around from destination to destination. First up is the area around Imperial Palace. This area is important because this is where the residence for Tokyo's imperial family is. One thing that stood out to me about this area was the streets are extremely clean, and so is the entire area. Probably one of the most clean cities you will come across here in Tokyo, and the Imperial Palace is that place where it's very clean. The site of the Imperial Palace is actually where the Edo Castle was located. Head over to the area where Chiyoda is and you will find the Imperial Palace. Just keep in mind, Tokyo is the largest city in the world, so there is a lot to see. Next up, we're headed to Shinsho-ji Temple. This is actually one of the most photographed temples in all of Tokyo. It is the oldest Buddhist temple here in the capital with a 5-story pagoda. The good news is it is one of the most popular free things to do in all of Tokyo. It is located in the city of Asakusa. As you can see, it gets very crowded here as we walk along the market area headed towards the temple. Once you get to the temple, you can burn incense and you can participate in other Buddhist rituals. I would say plan for 2 hours at this location. You don't really need that much time. You just go here, do some shopping, explore the temple, and take some pictures, and you'll be satisfied. And here you can see they are burning the incense, and the reason you do that is to purify the body before visiting the temple. Next up, we're headed to one of the hip, trendy neighborhoods around Tokyo called Harajuku. There was a famous fashion style that came out of here where they mixed local Japanese clothing with Western styles. And it's really a popular place with young people. So when you're in the area, if you want to go to that kind of vibe where it's young people hanging out doing trendy, fashionable stuff, the main road is Takashita Street. So if you're down here, that's where you want to go. Another popular thing to do in Tokyo is go up to Mount Fuji. It is about a 2.5-hour drive. You can get tours from here, or you can simply drive over there or take the train. And it is actually the tallest mountain in all of Japan. The elevation is 12,400 feet or 3,776 meters. The last time Mount Fuji erupted was in 1707 to 1708. Let's just say it's kind of overdue. And as you probably know, Tokyo is very seismic. Next up, we're headed to Shinjuku. This is one of 23 different wards in the Tokyo area. Now, Shinjuku is popular because it has clubs, karaoke rooms. It's also where they held the new Olympic Stadium, so it's a high-tech sports venue right here in Shinjuku City. This is definitely one of the areas you want to check out if you're looking for nightlife. You will also notice that it's a business administrative area with lots of commercial buildings and towers, so that's another thing that Shinjuku City offers. Also, if you like anime, you're going to find that here in this area, and some ninja history. Next up, I recommend taking the Shinkansen, which is actually the bullet train here in Japan. You can see this high-tech looking train. It will take you all across Honshu, which is the main island. It'll take you to Osaka, but you can also go to the other island where Kyoto is. And this is one of the world's first high-speed rails. Next up, we're going to do a Japanese tea ceremony. Now, tea is very popular in Asia, but in particular here in Japan. Now, a Japanese tea ceremony usually includes matcha, also known as powdered green tea, the procedure called teme. Now, tea was originally brought to Japan from China, and it was used for religious purposes in one of these Japanese tea ceremonies. And you can find these across Tokyo, so just do a simple Google search. Next up, I want to encourage you guys to try Japanese treats. So you can see they have those unique vending machines, but also when you go inside of a 7-Eleven or one of the convenience stores, you'll be pleasantly surprised with a variety of treats. Let's put it like this, Japanese snacks and treats are so popular, people actually order grab bags online to be delivered to their house wherever they are around the world. Next up, we're going to talk about Japanese anime. They have souvenir stores around here, and you can really get a feel for the culture of anime here. As you guys know, also Hello Kitty is from Japan. Other popular Japanese anime include Pokemon, Hanakappa, Yokai Watch. You can check those when you're there. Next up, let's talk about Shinjuku Gaon Garden. Now, as you know, Japanese gardens are known around the world. They're very popular. Well, this here is a really special Japanese garden. You can walk around the grounds and see all types of different flora and fauna that come from here in Japan. There's actually 3 gardens here, one Western, one Japanese style, and a French garden, which is considered the most romantic, especially because they have roses and other variety of flowers that grow really good here in Tokyo. It is 500 yen for adults, but children 15 and under are free. Next up, we're headed to the Tokyo Skytree. This here is a broadcasting and observation tower. It's actually known as the tallest building in Japan as of 2018, standing at over 2,080 feet, which is 634 meters. The building, for the most part, is considered earthquake resistant, which is very important here in Tokyo, as you guys already know. If you can, go to the observation deck and get the views. Next up, we're at the Tokyo Tower, which is similar to the Skytree, but it's a totally different structure. Originally completed in 1958, the Tokyo Tower became a prominent landmark and was actually Japan's tallest building until the Skytree came along. They intentionally painted it orange because they wanted to protect the airplanes from crashing into it, so that's why they painted it this color. It's for air safety. Now let's talk about the best way to get around Tokyo. That's going to be on the metro. So when I first arrived in Tokyo, I found the metro to be complicated and it wasn't in English, but as time went by, I discovered that the Tokyo Metro is very efficient. All it took was me figuring it out, and that took about 2 to 3 days. And by the way, if you guys are enjoying this video, please consider liking the video and subscribing. Also, thank you to all of our channel members. If you check the links below, you will see there are more videos around Asia, like Singapore and Thailand. Now, I hope you've built up an appetite by this point because we're going to talk about Japanese food. That's going to include a lot of ramen. And in Tokyo, it's okay to slurp your noodles. It is actually encouraged, and the reason for that is because you're showing like and satisfaction when doing so. Now, obviously, there are a lot of other types of barbecue, hibachi, and grill food you can get around Japan, like Turkish kebab, but mostly sushi and other Japanese types of food. Also consider trying some sake while here, and of course, tempura. Now, tempura vegetables, tempura shrimp, so many different types of tempura, but the big ticket in town is going to be the ramen, and then the grill, and then they also have chicken kayatsu. I would say while here, try to do a lot of food sampling. Definitely something to do. Now we're gonna go to a seafood market. This is a Japanese fish market. There are a couple. These are world renowned because of all of the fish they used to bring in. Nowadays, they don't have as much fish in the Pacific Ocean as they used to. So a lot of it is imported, but you will still see that one of the main markets is open, the Shinsho-ji market. The biggest one in Tokyo actually closed. This is the only one that's now open. You can find it on Google Maps. Next up, I will recommend going to the Tokyo National Museum. They also have the Natural Science Museum here of Tokyo. All of this is pretty much in the same area, very close nearby the Imperial Palace. So you can do museums and Imperial Palace in a day. That's how I would probably try and plan this. The Natural Science Museum is a great place for the kids. It's 1,000 yen for adults. Kids under 18 are free. Next up, we're headed to Ginza. Now, this is the most expensive neighborhood in all of Tokyo. When I was walking through here, I was amazed at how small and skinny the buildings are. They're like stacked one on top of each other, but it's a nice stroll if you wanted to go through a place where they have elegant shopping and that kind of vibe of luxury. Ginza is essentially Saks Fifth Avenue, just here in Tokyo. You can also find fine jewelry, which used to be sold here in the 1930s at department stores, which ultimately led to this ultra-modern area known as Ginza District. And from here, you can easily take the Tokyo Metro just down the way a few kilometers to Shibuya. Now in Shibuya, right when you get out of the train station, you will see Shibuya Crossing, which is actually the busiest crossing in the world. And there's a few reasons why it's the busiest. Number one is a lot of people work down here in Shibuya. Also, it's close proximity to Shibuya Station, which is the third busiest in Tokyo. But then there's also tourists who come down here to do shopping, which all contribute to the crowds. Next up, we're headed to Meiji Shrine. Now, this is another shrine complex. This one's a lot more peaceful and relaxing. You actually walk through a park to get to this shrine, and some of the other ones that are in the city that have high crowds. This one's a little bit more spread out and relaxed. You can also do water rituals here, as you will see when you arrive. Now, it is named after the emperor in 1920. His name was Meiji, and that's what this place is, a dedication to that emperor of the 1920s, a prosperity era for Japan. Because he was considered a man of virtue as well as a great statesman who formed many alliances around the world. Next up, we have the Sumo Wrestler Museum. You can go inside here and find out about the history related to sumo wrestling. You will also see other works of art, and some music shows will also be played here. Now, that park outside of Meiji Temple is called Yoyogi Park, and that's actually where you walk in from Shibuya. Actually, the best way to get to this area here is probably going to be arrive in Shibuya, walk down the road a bit, and then you'll come to the park. They have a vegetable garden around here. They also grow rice. It's like an urban jungle inside of the big city metropolis of Tokyo, which is impressive because you really feel like you're in the forest even though you're in a park inside of Tokyo, kind of like what you have in Central Park. And now that we've taken you through Tokyo, we just showed you 20 things to do. There's also a lot of arcades and games that if you can wrap your mind around how to play those games, they can be fun because the locals definitely play it. I never actually got around to playing it. I thought it was a slot machine, but it turns out it's not. That's that Japanese entertainment. But yes, Tokyo is truly a world of its own. There's not many cities like it in the world. It's so unique and cultural. And if you want to check out our next video, you can check out Singapore as well as Bali by clicking the links next.